The title I've chosen is People and Places because it best expresses a whole range of feelings that I have about painting. Some incidences stay in my mind and are taken from people that I see at work and doing ordinary things, basically. They're not people who are doing anything in particular. And I'm hoping that that's a kind of a common theme throughout this People and Places. There are one or two examples of places that I've been to that struck me as having a narrative that perhaps is untold. And this is one example of an abandoned cottage. And I would also say there's some inspiration from early 20th century artists in this, such as Cézanne. And this is from a window in London overlooking some rooftops. And this is another example of a cottage in Ireland, and an abandoned cottage with another strong narrative feel to it, and other cottages in Greece. So I've really felt that these are quite interesting to show that the ordinariness of life often contains some really interesting narratives. At the beginning of the exhibition, the text that is telling you about it, I've taken some words of Aristotle saying the power of place is remarkable. And it covers all sorts of places that I've been to, but I can't help thinking that how important it is to have a place in the world. And that when we see pictures of refugees and abandoned children, it makes me think the importance of place for everybody in the world. And we have to remember that everybody does need a place. One of the interesting things about still life is that it has a narrative all of its own. Many of the pictures here are done with a very thick brushstroke and thick layers of paint. And in one or two cases, I've used a much more strong background. The next section is about working places and people themselves. And my inspiration really comes from watching people, looking at how they work, what they do. Particularly inspirational were visits to Greece, where people are around the marketplace, and I would take photographs and then do a rough sketch. If it's not possible to do a rough sketch on the spot, then I would take a photograph and then do a rough outline in paint before actually applying much thicker paint afterwards. So there's one or two of these works reflect different people in different specific jobs, and I hope that they give some idea of people at work. During the course of my working life as a health visitor, I became involved with working with some women who, a small group of people who were from South Asia, and they enjoyed being photographed, and they have given their permission also for their work to be displayed. Their lives became part of my life for a certain period of time, and I now have moved into a different area since my retirement, so I don't see them anymore.